So it's the first week of August and I am on a client property here up in northern Michigan and just got done creating what I call a funnel trap for this client. So this property here happens to be around 50 acres or so, and it's very heavily hunted on the food plot edges. Lots of tower stands. They've got some food plots in the woods as well with tower stands. So most of the hunting is concentrated around the food. And so what I wanted to do here on this property though is to create some in the woods situations where these mature bucks are really spending most of their time in the timber, and especially during daylight hours. Of course the bucks are going to be coming out into the food at night, but that's not really where they spend most of their time, and it's really not the high percentage spot as far as hunting food plots to kill a mature buck in a high pressured area like this is in northern Michigan. So I created a funnel trap here on the south side of this food plot, and I'll walk you through the path that this buck is going to take. But this is a situation where we've got a tree set up right here where the orange habitat hook is leaning up against. Don't know if you can see the tree stand way up there, but the platform is at about 25 feet. And these deer are absolutely going to be coming right through here. There's really no other option unless they want to walk out into that scary food plot, which they're probably not going to do during daylight hours. So the way this sets up, you can see we've got a lot of food over there on the east side of the property, and it pretty much runs north and south. And what I did is I created a hinge cut barrier or a barricade that runs along the west side of that food plot. And inside the timber from the barricade I created several bedding areas, and this is going to allow the does to bed up close to the food. So if you think about getting toward the end of October, around October 26th, this is when those bucks are going to want to cruise that bedding area and circumvent the food plot with, say, a east wind or a northeast wind, and they're going to scent check every deer that's in that food plot. They're going to scent check every deer that's in the bedding area just by walking down the west side of the food and the beds, and they'll be able to find out what does are in heat, what other competing bucks are in their area. And so this is going to create some very predictable buck traffic going north and south on the west side of the bedding and the food. So as these deer make their way south down this buck trail, they're going to come around to the south end of the food, and they're going to encounter the big swamp that's out behind this tree stand, and then they're going to pass right in front of the tree stand and give my client a 15-yard shot before he gets to the stand or after he gets past the stand. It's going to be a little chip shot. So his stand is up in a cedar tree. It's very well hidden. His platform is 25 feet up. There's no way he's going to get picked off. And as long as he just hunts it with a north wind, a northeast wind, after October 26 only, he doesn't want to come in here before that, because the deer aren't searching with their noses for hot estrus does yet at that time. So only after October 26 is that going to start happening with mature bucks. And that'll probably happen between 9 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or at probably that last hour, hour and a half of daylight. And that's when these bucks will be out still in security. They never have to show their face out into this big scary food plot. And my client can be totally scent safe in that stand with a north wind or northeast wind. And it's going to be a very, very high percentage situation. So I call this a funnel trap. What I'll do now is I'll just grab the camera and I'll take the route that this deer is going to take, and we'll take it from the north and making the way south past the deer stand. Okay, so I'm in a little bedding area right here that's off on the north end of this area, and I'm just off to the west side of all the food. And you can see I took down some trees here and really opened up the sky up there. Going to let a lot more sunlight in, and it's going to keep food growing in this bedding area by just increasing the sunlight. Then as we pan over here a little bit to the west, we've got more hinge cuts, and took down some really big timber. You can see we've got a lot of open sky there now, so a lot of this stuff is just going to continue to grow, and next year I'll create even more browse and forbs for the deer to be able to hang up in this bedding area and basically be a bed and breakfast. So we've got more hinge cuts over there, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start taking this trail and heading south, and I'm going to parallel the edge of that food plot. And this is basically, once these deer get on this trail, there's only a couple opportunities for them to get out into the food plot, which is going to be right in front of one of the tower stands. So as we make our way south, you can see we've got more hinge cuts here, and we got a trail right here going through between a couple of hinge cuts, hinge cut bedding areas. So we're just going to continue to make our way south through here. Here we got another bedding area. We'll go check that out real quick. But complete closed canopy. It was very dark in here, but now you can see we've got a lot of open sky up here. And I got to do the detail work yet. Got to come in here and clear out individual beds, but that doesn't take very long. All the grunt work now is done. So we're going to continue now on this trail that heads south. We've got the food plot to our left. Now here's one little spot here where the deer can get out into the food plot. So that's one spot the does can get up out of bed, head out to the food. But the main trail continues south. We head by some more hinge cuts. This is part of the barrier that visually is like a visual screen barricade to the food. We come down through here. And I'm trying to allow the sunlight to come in as much as possible as we go through here. I just don't want this to become an open corridor. I want it to be nice and secure. It's all about getting the sunlight in here. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the barricade where the deer are able to turn left and get out into the food. I'm going to walk under this hinge cut here. You can see it's just pretty much a mess trying to get through that to get to the food plot, until go underneath that hinge cut here, and now it pretty much just opens up. This is at the end of the barricade. Now they can go out there to the food. So if the bucks don't want to head that way, they want to continue south and head toward the security of the swamp edge where they can circumvent the south side of the food plot. They'll head right down through here, and you'll see right there with a orange habitat hook, that's where the tree stand is, right up there. So it's at 25 foot to the platform. This is a nice easy 15-yard shot, and the deer used to cross right here and go behind the tree stand off to the right, but I totally blocked that off. I even went out into the swamp and cut down some more cedars and some aspen, some birch, dropped it all down so that the deer are not going to want to go all the way around that barricade. Instead, what they'll do is they will head to the left now, and they'll walk right in front of the tree stand, which is up there. They're going to head right down this trail that I cut out, lots of stuff in the way. Make it nice and easy for them. I'm going to put a licking branch in here. Just going to hang a vine. So we're getting right close to the swamp edge here, and you can see we got more debris out into that swamp edge, so it's going to keep them right on the edge, but they feel like they're in cover going through here. You can see some of the tracks in the mud. This is a pretty well used trail, and you can see it goes right along the swamp edge here. There's some water, and this is right where they're going through. So now the most likely scenario is that with a north wind, that my client can hide in that tree stand and not get busted by his scent blown back over the swamp. The most likely scenario is these bucks are going to want to come through that corridor with a north wind, but coming in from the south. So basically, the most likely scenario is they're going to be starting down here by the swamp, and they're going to be going the other way, which is right through here. We're turning around, we're going to head back the way that we just came from. We're going to go through this new little trail that I created. And now as they start heading north, the opposite way we came earlier, it's going to take them right into the wind. And so with that northerly wind, they can easily scent check what's up ahead of them, and that's a very safe scenario for them in a high hunting pressured area. That may not be the case so much in Iowa, Kansas, but when you're talking areas of lots of hunters per square mile, it makes all the difference. And my client's tree stand is right up there. So in 5 or 6 hours, or at least in one day, especially if you're working with somebody else, this is something that you can create on your own property. And I always tell landowners, you guys pay the taxes, you get to tell the deer where they can go and where they can't go. So just by looking at an aerial and thinking out of the box a little bit, just ask yourself, how can I manipulate deer movement past my stands and restrict them from going places that I can't shoot to, and just coming up with a plan where you can access and get in and out scent safe, playing with the right wind. And it'll all come together, especially if you hunt it at the right time with the right wind conditions. Of the things that I do for landowners, I think building these funnel traps is probably one of the most enjoyable, one of the most rewarding. I know how well they work, and several other clients have had success with situations like this. And so I know this client's going to do very well. He's got plenty of other places to go, so he's really not going to be tempted to get in here before October 26th and kind of booger it up, right? So I really have high hopes for him here, and if he does shoot something, then we'll do a follow-up video and we'll give you the story.